Only Muslims will prosper in the afterlife.
Thank you for your time.
You're not angry with me, are you?
Angry? I'm the one who came with the questions. Why should I be angry?
Come and see me from time to time.
You want to see me again? Look, I'm a sinner and a heathen. You even said my sandals are sinful.
No, I'm speaking from my heart.
To Salman's surprise, Mullah Bijli breaks into song, though to him, it is not music.
Sing this devotional song in London.
What do you want to play to the people in London?
This.
वसदा शहर मदीने विच घर है उस महबूब दा हर मुस्लिम दे सीने विच जिस दे दिल विच कुफर ते कीने उस नी निवाणा शहर मदीने सारी उम्र गुजारे बेड़ा कुफर हसद ते कीने विच अर्श कुर्सी लौह कलम बेशक नाले बैतुल हरम आला रुतबा उथे होसी हजरत जिस ज़मीने विच अबू बकर फारूक गनीदा बन जा खादिम शाह.
Wide Angle continues with Mishal Hussain.
Madam Assistant Secretary, why would you say that this is a country that matters to the United States?
Pakistan matters to the United States for a large number of reasons. First of all, it is a critical partner in the war on terror. It has been an ally in Operation Enduring Freedom in the war in Afghanistan. It's been critical for that. It also is a country with whom we have a long history and one that we're hoping to put back on track and to move forward with and to put on a long-term basis.
So you've been to Pakistan numerous times. How do you find it when you go there?
It's a country with enormous potential. And it's something that you can feel when you're there in all parts of the country.
Did you sense anti-Americanism?
Absolutely, but they're not shy about telling you. And
that's not necessarily a good
dialogue.
thing.
No, but it's part of a dialogue. You can enter a dialogue. The minds aren't all closed by any means. I don't think we've done a good enough job of putting out the message of the fact that the United States is tolerant and in no way anti-Islam, on the contrary.
It's because of Pakistan's strategic location, because of its use on the war on terror, that you are so interested in Pakistan today.
Well, regional stability is critical. And for Pakistan, we want and need, the world needs a stable Pakistan, and a Pakistan that is prosperous and successful.
Let's talk for a moment about the changes in US policy towards Pakistan since September the 11th. That was a day on which everything changed for Pakistan. Its relationship with the United States completely changed.
Absolutely. Prior to 9/11, Pakistan had been under a raft of sanctions, which the U.S. had already, we'd been trying to lift some of them, and the legislation was in place to lift it. The 98 sanctions were put in place because of the nuclear tests on both India and Pakistan, and they were the ones that were being lifted. There were sanctions in place prior to that for acquisition of nuclear technology and things like that, which needed to be moved, as well as the democracy sanctions. After 9/11, that made it a lot easier because then all the sanctions were able to be waived.
Did that mean that Pakistan's nuclear weapons, its weapons of mass destruction, suddenly weren't such a problem for the United States?
We have accepted the fact that both these countries have nuclear weapons, and what we hope to do is to convince them both to adhere to international norms with respect to that, and to limit the number and hopefully start to disarm as time goes by.
Isn't the reality of Pakistan today, though, in some ways the United States' worst nightmare? This is a country which has weapons of mass destruction, has an active nuclear weapons program. It's also a country where an extremist Islamic movement is becoming increasingly popular.
Well, I'd say at this point that we still believe that the government of Pakistan is in control of its nuclear assets, that it knows how to control it, that nuclear security is a major component of their policy. There are obviously voices now who are wanting to be heard, and I think that as we move towards a fuller democracy, it'll be a place where all voices will be heard from all sides of the spectrum.
Give us your sense, if you will, of how you view where President Musharraf is at this particular point in time.
Well, President Musharraf clearly has a very difficult job. He has a regional situation that is not yet calm. However, we hope that he will be a force for stability in the region.
And yet President Musharraf is someone who is in a lot of problems at home for just that close relationship with the United States.
With certain elements of his country, there's no doubt, but our hope is that we can help. We want to move forward on a much broader-based relationship with with Pakistan and with the people of Pakistan. And so it's not just a security relationship. This is one of the reasons that we've put forward an enormous multi-year package that we've just presented to Pakistan, which, by the way, is something that is not done with very many countries, which is intended to both signal a long-term commitment to the country and also to help move this vision of Pakistan forward.
Give me your thoughts on some of the things we saw in the film about the reality of how life in the northwest frontier province of Pakistan has changed, the reality of what Sharia law means and what you think of that.
Well, this is a part of the country that I've traveled to and that is clearly more traditional than the rest of the country. There's no doubt about it. But I think there's also a need in that part of the country, as there is throughout Pakistan, for a better education system.
But how do you actually do that? Do you give money for new schools, or do you try and change the curriculum?
We work with a number of NGOs that work directly in the areas involved. We also work directly with the government and with the education minister, who has an entire project to help revitalize the school system and to provide children with an opportunity and an alternative to the madrasa system.
It's a very difficult thing to do, isn't it? Because the last thing you want to be seen to be doing is imposing some kind of American value educational system on this part of the world.
That's not at all what we're trying to do. On the contrary, what we like to do is give opportunities, present more opportunities to the children and to the poor people to have something when they get out of school. If you broaden the curriculum, their job opportunities will expand exponentially, obviously.
But 50% of the package that you just gave to Pakistan is still earmarked for the military.
50%, but that still leaves 1.5 billion over the next 5 years in the areas of education and other development assistance, health, democratization. This is an area which will directly affect, we hope, the average Pakistani, including in these areas that you've been showing on your film.
What do you make of one of the things we saw in the film, the direct claim that a part of Islam is the fact that women should stay in the home?
Well, I'm not in a position to interpret Islam by any means, so I wouldn't even think to do that. But clearly, it is not a position taken by the vast majority of Muslim countries around the world. And we've seen what happens under those circumstances. We saw that under the Taliban, and that is something that obviously, especially as a woman, we really would like to discourage.
Do you think that these parties are the Taliban of Pakistan?
I'm not sure that the exact thing can carry from one country to the other. Every country has its own peculiarities. But certainly a situation where women are kept from working, kept from school, and kept in the home is something that we really would like to not see happen to Pakistan.
It strikes me as being a very difficult thing for the United States to do to try and combat the rise of extremist Islam, because this is never going to be a secular nation.
No one is looking for it to become a secular nation. It's an Islamic republic. It is absolute, and the United States is a country that has many faithful of many different religions. What we would like to see is tolerance. What we'd like to see expanded is tolerance throughout the country, so that there's no one is imposing any particular